our main character, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you want to check that out?
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it perfectly suits the end of this segment.
Nice.
So here we go.
All right.
Well, it's really educational for me because I when the movie came out, there wasn't things like the internet and all of these conventions. So the movie just came out, and I had no idea really how it affected people. Thank you. And so, coming to these conventions, you really get an idea of just the level of the impact, really sometimes even on a worldwide basis, that it had. And I really had pretty much no idea about the level of impact until I did these shows. And you see people from all parts of the world come over and say, I love this. And they say it in different languages. Some of them can't even speak English. They've seen the non-English versions. It's just amazing the impact the film has had over 30 years. It blows my mind. The original script just was basically a lot more horrific. You had the classic scene where Francis McCain's character got a head cut off and it rolled down the stairs, and Gizmo was killed at around the 55-minute mark or something like that. So it was just much, much darker. And basically all of those really unpleasant bits got cut out, essentially, or kind of reconfigured by Spielberg.
If there is indeed another sequel, as Chris Columbus seems to be accidentally alluding to these days, what would you like to see in terms of the tone and for Billy if he's back?
I wouldn't say I was dissatisfied with the two Gremlin movies. I liked them both very much, and I thought they were two very separate entities. The Gremlins film I would want to see would be like an action film. I think it lends itself to an action film really brilliantly. And you saw bits and pieces of that with my character cutting the head off and blowing the movie theater up, and then the kind of the tense sequence in the department store. I think you could have one where just everything goes crazy and it's kind of like non-stop action from beginning to end. It doesn't have to be like car chases and Fast and Furious stuff like that, but it could be just running and chasing, and then the Gremlins, I think the Gremlins should have an additional metamorphosis. I think it should go Mogwais to Gremlins to something else we haven't seen. I mean, why do you assume that the Gremlins are the final stage? You don't know that. So why can't they go to even another transformation is what I would like to see. Well, I think we're getting a straight-up sequel because Chris Columbus keeps referring to it as a sequel, and he keeps explicitly saying that he will not remake the first one. So if you're not going to remake the first one, it really leaves you with only one choice, and that's either a straight-up sequel that completely is like a Gremlins 3, or a Jurassic World type sequel in which decades have passed, which in this instance it has, but somehow the universe or the cosmology of the franchise is still intact and is referred to, and old characters from either the first or the second movie or both can reappear the same way that B.D. Wong does in Jurassic World. So my guess is if I had to really put my money down, I would bet he's going to take the Jurassic World approach, because it kind of combines the best of the old films and the new technology.
So Christopher Lee was a part of the Gremlin sequel. Can you talk about your feelings at working with one of the greatest actors of his generation?
Well, it was kind of intimidating at first because, he has this very, very deep, resonant, basso, profundo voice and this big, powerful physical presence because he was quite a large man. But he was so kind, and he genuinely seemed to be really happy to be there. You got to realize, in 1989, every actor has kind of ups and downs in their career. And I would say he was probably at a little bit of a down point in his career. So this was kind of a little uptick for him to be working for Spielberg and doing stuff like that. So I think he was very excited about it.
Nice. I liked it, and I like how he brought up a really cool thing about the next step in the evolution.
Yeah.
Which would be cool.
That, I feel like... probably not a lot of people have thought about that. What if there was another step that could happen?
Yeah.
And that could open up a floodgate for so many new stories, So that seems pretty. Hopefully they go that route with the new one.
Yes, would be awesome.
And they bring back Phoebe.
Yeah.
And Zach. That'd be cool. Do you want to do our next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Swan Facts.
All right, guys. Time for our Swan Facts.
Oh, yes.
First off, in Cantonese, Mogwai means devil, demon, or gremlin.
Ooh, nice.
This film and Indiana Jones Temple of Doom are credited for creating the PG-13 rating.
Ooh.
And that was what we were talking about earlier, because they are both of these films are too dark for PG, really, and they're light enough not to be considered R. So they're the kind of gray area.
Okay.
And for so many years there was never PG-13.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I guess these two films inspired that.
Okay. Nice.
So there's some history for you.
Yeah.
The scene in the department store where Stripe attacks Billy with the chainsaw is a homage to the 70s original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ah, nice.
Tim Burton was once considered to direct the film, but ultimately didn't land the gig because he had never done a feature-length film at that time.
That would have been pretty interesting.
He had only done short films.
Yeah.
Originally, Stripe and Giz were supposed to be the same creature, but Spielberg wanted a good guy for the audience to relate to. The original cut of the film actually runs 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Dang, that's a long movie. How long was this one?
This one's like an hour and 47.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. This is the last film to be shot on Eastman Color 125T film stock.
Ah.
The very last one. And I guess shortly after they wrapped shooting, it was discontinued forever. Although set around Christmas time, this film was actually released in the summertime, which I think was June of '84.
That's cool. Christmas movie in June.
The alt rock band, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They call themselves Mogwai, and they actually got their name from the film.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And I think that wraps up Swan Facts.
Okay. Nice. They're short and sweet.
Now we open the table to whatever we want to talk about.
Okay. Let me think. I don't know, man. I just actually thought of a movie for 80s movies. It was kind of random. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably my favorite one.
Nice. I like the first one.
Okay. I don't. Which one is that?
Raiders.
Raiders of the Lost
Yeah.
Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The
How
classic,
did you feel about the Shia one? Was it the
Crystal Skull Temple of
Kingdom
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Mm-hmm. that
that crack in my voice. I don't know. It was all right. I mean, I know a lot of specifically one of my friends. You remember Jacob who used to work with us?
Oh yeah.
He hates that movie. I don't know if it's just he hates anything that's like a continuation of like an original.
Okay.
Like older
so
movies.
he doesn't like Star Wars?
He like, I would always ask him, like, I would wait for him to see a movie, like when what was it, The Force Awakens came out. I would ask him, "What'd you think of the movie, man?" Because I told him, I was like, "Oh, it's a great movie, like it's awesome." And he's like, "I don't know, it's kind of just like the same thing of A New Hope. I don't really think it's awesome. It's okay. I wouldn't watch it again."
I love your impression of it. It's pretty spot on.
He's like, he hated it. He's like, "I hate all the CGI," and I was like, "Oh, dude, like, whatever. I guess." I mean, he hates all the new Disney movies.
Yeah, I remember him talking trash on Guardians. He said Guardians was a flop.
Yeah.
The first one?
No, the first one, no way.
Yeah.
The second one either. I mean, it wasn't a flop, but I know.
It's kind of a little different.
Yeah.
But the first one, he was
first
like,
one was
that
like-
movie's he was like, that movie's garbage.
That's crazy. Just,
I was like, what?
He's really weird with his movie, like the way he decides if I don't know how he decides if movies are good or not. He just kind of looks at a chart of movies from the 1980s and he's like, oh, does this match up with the plot twists? And I don't know.
So does he just prefer a specific era?
He loves like old movies. And
Okay, so
the
he
music
just...
he listens to like I don't know, he's this weird music. And listens to like old like swing music.
Really?
Yeah.
I always hear him listening to, or when we used to work with him, I'd hear him listen to like weird, like techno.
He'd always listen to like techno violin music.
Yeah.
It's like a fusion of techno violin.
And then he would like really get into it.
And he's like,
sometimes. Yeah, I'm like, okay.
I mean,
Alright.
you like what you like. No, no shade or anything to him, but he's a really good friend. But yeah, he hates those movies. Yeah, I don't know what else you want to talk about, man.
Well, we have a few people who've been asking to be on the show.
Oh, okay, nice.
My buddy, my coworker CJ is trying to be on the show.
Okay.
And he's pretty much like you.
Uh-huh.
And his name is actually James as well.
Uh-oh, this is gonna get confusing.
That's why I said CJ.
Okay.
Let's use nicknames, I guess. But yeah, he's very knowledgeable in pop culture, and I think it'll be fun to have him on the show.
Yeah.
And then a new friend that I made. His
Okay.
name's Chris, not to be confused with our Chris.
Yes.
But he took in somebody close to me, their dog.
Okay.
And yeah, he was nice enough to do that, and he pretty much adopted them.
Nice.
And I got to talk to him and meet his family and stuff, and I guess he's really into podcasts as well.
Nice.
And he wants to be on the show, and he also is knowledgeable in movies.
Nice.
So yeah, I think we might have a guest there too. So shout out to Chris and his family
Yeah. Shout out
for taking in Jesse and being so cool.
Yeah.
And I hope we can get him on the show.
That'd be awesome.
Talk
That'd be
about.
sick.
I know he said his favorite movies are The Lost Boys and The Warriors.
Yes.
Which I know,
Warriors,
you've been all over The Warriors lately. So it seems like it's meant to be, dude.
Yeah. Stars are aligned.
What else should we talk about?
I don't know.
Oh, next week, in case you missed us talking about it before, we will be doing a best of episode, which we'll have a couple of movies that we loved, that we think is our must watches from 2017, and at least one of the biggest letdowns of 2017.
Okay.
That'll be
Ooh,
fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, and we're gonna have our buddy Chris, other buddy Chris, our silent partner, if you will.
Yeah.
He also, not to put him on blast on air, but he told me, he was asking me about a gift for you that he's gonna get. And he was like, "Do you think you'd like this? Because I think it's really cool, but I don't want him to already have it.
Okay.
I don't think you have it.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to let you know that because I'm sure that's a wild card.
Yeah,
you weren't
that's
expecting.
awesome. I wasn't expecting that at all, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. I mean, if you do give me something, that's awesome. That's pretty sweet, man.
But yeah, so he'll be on the show next Friday.
Yeah.
What else? Make sure you subscribe to us and give us those reviews. Hit us with those 5 stars.
Yes.
You can
tell your friends about us.
Yeah,
your
you can.
Family.
You can. You can listen to us through pretty much. Besides Spotify, we haven't. I haven't got us on Spotify yet, but we are on iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, Stitcher Radio, and
anything you can pretty much listen to a podcast on. We're there.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Yes.
We didn't say that yet, but that's a big one. Yeah.
Shout out to Wes, the Swan, for for taking the initiative and putting us on those listening platforms.